Hi guys, and welcome back to my second episode of this series of flying the Airbus A320 by Aerosoft. So last episode we created this lovely route we got here, and now we will be going from, so now our APU's on, we will be doing our taxi to the runway and takeoff. So what you want to do here is make sure that this is all working. You know from last episode that I didn't use the correct runway, but that was all fine in the end. So we will begin our pushback. So if I were on VATSIM, I would actually first select your headings on here. Just click in and it will auto select once the IRS is aligned. So now what you will want to do is request pushback. If you were in VATSIM, you'd have to have filed a flight plan by this point, and also you have to request pushback from a controller. I'm not using VATSIM, so I will just begin to push myself back using the beautiful tug here. And because I'm in I didn't take shots out there, so I will just pause the simulator, cancel the pushback, and that's something I often forget to do. It's not the end of the world if you do. So you want to go aircraft, not state, ground services. That says ignore me. Okay, it's deleted on pushback. So we'll request pushback again. Pushback tug comes up. You want to look behind your aircraft on, as I said, if you've got traffic enabled, which I have, you will notice that it is very, very frustrating if you are pushback into another vehicle. Even worse if on VATSIM you're flying around and then someone pushes back into you just after loads and loads of setup from a long haul. So we're just pushing back here. Not much to look for. Is there anything I can show you here whilst I'm doing? So you will notice nose wheel steering disconnect. That's because I'll turn the anti-skids on there. That's because the tug has your nose wheel. So now we're suitably pushed back, we can stop, and now we request taxi for the runway and follow the taxi route. We don't need to do that, so we'll just do a quick check up here. Oh, I should have started the engines for pushback. Okay, never mind. So now we will do an engine start. So you always need APU bleed turned on. APU bleed on, and then in a British Airways aircraft we start the second engine first on A320, so right click there to ignition start. Actually you can turn that one off. They should have been turned off automatically. Oh, it turns out the cold and dark state hadn't loaded properly, so my engines were running. That was quite silly. So now we can turn on the second runway engine, pretend that's all stabilised. And you will hear this funny sound. That is a hydraulic power transfer unit powering on. Lots of people have concerns about this sound. Don't worry, it happens on almost every engine start and quite often on shutdown. I was actually on an A319 where I need parking brake in here. Flying back from Amsterdam, and the barking dog noise on shutdown. It was started as the engine stopped, and you could still hear it occasionally even after we were exiting the aircraft. So really don't worry about that. It's all perfectly safe. Nothing's going wrong there. It's just the engine starting on. So we can see the engine starting to stabilise. When it drops below 500 we can then take off ignition start and have a look outside and see where the way to the runway is. So we will turn around here. And you want to taxi with a low throttle. If I'm not VATSIM and quite impatient when I taxi, it's just because there's hardly anyone around, no actual people around, so there's no problems caused there. And yeah, so there's no one really to hit. If you hit someone, it's really your fault. So I taxi quite quickly, but if you were on VATSIM, or IVAO or Pilot Live or whatever they call it, any of those programs, you would want to taxi more slowly than this and actually follow the route. So once again, there'll be a video on the taxi routes and stuff. Quickly, whilst I've not got much to do, quick shout out to Barless and Spag and Chips. They gave me the idea of creating this YouTube channel. So here we're just, I'll link them in the description. So we stopped before the runway and we've got our landing lights on, I already had. So now we want to turn the rest of the fuel pumps on. You can do that earlier. In the A320, the fuel will not drain if you have that pump off. So if you are running low on fuel, it's great. But I did once forget to turn all of the pumps on and end up, I think it was a 6-hour flight or something, with 18 tons of fuel or something pretty insane, and a full carload and passenger load, approaching onto a short runway, I think it's Bermuda, and it was not
approaching
a
26
experience.
left on
Okay,
runway 26 left flaps.
Make sure that our runway center line goes straight through the center of our monitor. Before when we taxi the runway, I will just use my short key on my joystick to lower the flaps by 1. That's some sort of takeoff you'll use on a decent runway like Gatwick. And we'll go into a performance, see we've selected flap not 1 setting 1 and V2 140 V1 132, so we can make those calls. I have only just reinstalled my flight simulator after a graphics card went wrong, so I don't know if it'll make those calls for me. It used to, but now we can set our navs to local. So arc, and then bring that back to 10 nautical miles. And we want 603 feet by this point. So we will slowly ease our throttle off. So you want to put your brakes on and get it to about 30% unstable. It should be 100% stable in this anyway. And then you want to get it to 50. As it accelerates, let go of your brakes. Push the joystick slightly down as you roll down the runway. And then go to the full throttle there. The flex temp should manage it for you. That will be part of my VATSIM series, and flex temps. So you just go to full throttle, and yeah, let's go. So keep the nose just below the front, just straying slightly to the left here. V1, rotate, V2. So at this point we can rotate, we can rotate the nose into the air, and we can now turn on our autopilot. So we can see our automatic speed suggestions here in the speed tape. So if I bring my throttle slightly back until it reaches throttle 5. So we'll now bring our gear up, positive brake climb, and you see this green dot. We're going to try and get up for it. That was our flat deploy speed. So now we're heading up to 220 knots on the connecting departure. So the gear's just coming up, as you can see here, and everything's all tickety loose. So I might cut this video now. Actually, yeah, we'll fly the SID and wait until we're just climbing for cruise. Make a separate, really short video on climbing for cruise. Actually, I'll include everything you need to know here. So when you're climbing for cruise, you'll hit an altitude where you will have to put full standard. With the barometer on 1013 anyway, it won't make an altitude difference at all. But if your barometer is different, it gets everyone to the same local level, and that happens when the approach controllers start giving you commands of their own. So I will cut the video here, just quickly turn on the terrain for you, terrain mapping, and I will join you when we get nearer to altitude.